Welcome to another edition of Fraud Fact Friday, being delivered for the second time in video format. And the topic this week is medical billing fraud. And I'm lucky to have two industry experts talking to me today, Mike Fossey and Tami Rockholt. Thank you both for taking the time to talk with me today.
We're happy to be here.
We are.
All right, so can you guys go ahead and just introduce yourselves and talk a little bit about your role in the medical billing fraud detection, billing fraud prevention space?
Okay, well, I'm actually an engineer to start out with. So I spent most of my life designing electronics and optics. But somewhere along the way, I met Tami. And when I met Tami, she was running a small company that reviewed medical records and bills. And she gave me, at one point, I think 2003, this huge file full of numbers. She didn't know what to do with it. I started analyzing it, and I found some fraud for a big insurance company, and I was hooked. So I've been actively fighting fraud since 2003.
Okay.
And my name is Tami Rockholt, and I am a registered nurse, but I have gotten into the medical billing and coding and pricing for about the last 20 years and really enjoy it. I mean, there's so much fraud that's going on, and whatever I can do to help prevent it is what I want to do. And I work with district attorney's offices, attorney general's office, FBI, and a lot of insurance companies on personal injury.
Okay. So just to frame the medical billing problem a bit, it's certainly a multifaceted problem. It's estimated that up to 15% of all medical bills have some kind of fraud associated with it. And it's definitely a startling number. And I'm sure you guys have some other alarming stats and things that you've come across, but even just Googling the topic of medical billing fraud, you come up with over 100,000 search results just under the news section. So it's a big problem. Maybe you can expand a little bit on how this is happening. Maybe you can provide one specific example of a common scheme to highlight the problem.
Well, one of the most common things going on involves epidural steroid injections. If you roll the clock back maybe 15 years, epidural steroid injections mostly happened in a doctor's office, and the doctor billed it out for a few $100s and got paid, and the patient went home feeling better, and that was the end of the story. If we fast forward to today, they are seldom done in doctor's offices anymore. They're now done in surgery centers, which bill far more than what the doctor did. And now the doctors are billing a few thousand, and the surgery centers in some parts of the country are billing $10,000 per injection, which is just crazy. You add to that, injections used to be done under local anesthesia or at most moderate sedation for very, very low cost. Moderate sedation is maybe $150. They're now done under general anesthesia for $1,000 to $1,500, or some places in Michigan, $5,000 for general anesthesia. And then besides all that, they unbundle. They charge for fluoroscopy, which is part of the main injection. So they just pile charge upon charge upon charge upon charge, and something that's worth a few $100s is $10,000 to $15,000 per shot.
Okay. Can you just expand briefly on that unbundling?
Yes, I like to say that unbundling, an analogy to that is when you go through McDonald's for your Happy Meal and you get up to the cash register and you're ready to pay for the Happy Meal, and the clerk says, and you owe for the Diet Coke and you owe for the French fries as well. And you go, wait a second, that's already included in the Happy Meal. And this is what occurs a lot in medical billing for the epidural steroid injections. And it's just wrong. And the rules are put out by the American Medical Association.
Okay. So I'm sure you guys have a lot more information on this specific procedure. So anyone interested in finding out more of what they could be looking out for in that specific case can surely contact you over LinkedIn. I have one final question for you. Maybe you have some quick tips for people or maybe insurance companies, things that they can look out for. I mean, we all receive medical bills, but we don't really know what may be fraud and what may not be. So what would be maybe some common indications of fraud that people could look out for?
The simplest indication in the case of these injections is there will be a line item for the injection, another line item for fluoroscopy, and oftentimes a third line item for epidurography, which also is not generally done in a routine manner with injections. It's a special process that's done in similar settings. So they just look for those three line items: the injection, the fluoroscopy, and the epidurography. If you see all those on one bill, something's fishy.
Okay.
And we
Okay.
encourage you to let us know if you have questions further about it.
Okay. So if someone's got a questionable medical bill, then they can reach out and ask for some help.
Yes.
And Tami and I routinely answer questions for no charge, usually within 24 hours, although some days we get really, really busy. But
Yeah.
we love to answer questions, educate a little bit, and anything we can do in the fight against fraud is all good in our book.
Great. Okay. Well, thank you very much for your time. That wraps up the Fraud Fact Friday. I'm sure we are going to be in contact, keeping up on this very interesting topic, and I'm sure we'll have some follow-up episodes.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.